Hello Gunners, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be going through the underrated players from Arsenal's title charge this season. I feel there's quite a few players that have gone a bit under the radar for their performances, whether that be at the start of the season or during the run-in, and then maybe a couple of surprise faces that you didn't think contributed so much to our title race, our title challenge per se. But before I begin, if you're new here, of course, please smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and turn on those notifications. It will be much appreciated. So without further ado, let's begin. And the player I'm going to actually start with is Edward Nketiah. And yes, it may be a bit of surprise to you that Edward Nketiah is on this list, but I think early in the season, I know a lot of fans don't rate him, and I still think we should probably sell him and make a profit because he deserves more game time. But at the start of the season, it was a really difficult start to the season where we were getting the results, but the football wasn't really flowing. Defensively, we were a bit shaky. We're just adjusting to the new way of Mikel Arteta's system. But I feel like Eddie Nketiah really stepped up to the plate. When we think about that hat-trick against Sheffield United at home, pretty much single-handedly won us that game. And you'd remove him from the game, probably wouldn't have come away with the 3 points. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if we look at the quality of the goals, that first one from Declan Rice's pass into Eddie Nketiah, a brilliant touch and a brilliant finish. It's those individual moments of brilliance, even the one from the corner, a beautiful strike as well into the corner. There was not much space for him to operate, but he still found a little angle to score that goal. And of course, the third, an absolute stunner from distance. I call that the Eddie Nketiah game, and you take away those 3 points, we're nowhere near Manchester City. So I just think appreciation towards Eddie, a bit of an unsung hero in that first phase. There was also the game against Crystal Palace away from home. We were really struggling to create, and then Eddie Nketiah goes through on goal and wins a penalty. Some really good movement from him, and a lot of people will forget these sort of performances because they've got an agenda against him, but I won't, because we ended up winning that game 1-0, and he was the game winner, although Martin Odegaard scored the penalty. So I think, yes, although you may not rate him, although he may not be fit to wear our famous number 14 shirt, I think it would be ridiculous to say that he hasn't been a bit of an unsung hero for us, especially in that first sort of stage of the season. Eddie also scored against Nottingham Forest, a really good goal from him and Martinelli linking up, a striker's goal, and it ended up being the goal that was crucial into us winning that game. It ended 2-1, first game of the season. And of course, again, you know, I'm understanding if you forget these moments, and I'm understanding if you don't rate Eddie Nketiah, but to say he hasn't been a bit of a crucial part of this season would be so far and wide of the mark. We also had that 2-2 draw against Fulham. He stepped up, him and Fabio Vieira, he got the goal. And although we ended up bottling it, and we can look back at that game as maybe one of the most disappointing results this season, it's still Eddie Nketiah providing and scoring and being involved in our attacking play when the attack wasn't necessarily clicking. Now let's move on to the next person who's been really underrated in this season, and it is going to be Takehiro Tomiyasu. We're now going from the start of the season towards the end, and I don't think people have noticed the way Tomiyasu has been playing. He's kind of just came back and slotted into that left-back role and made it his own. Hasn't been really making those fantastic standout performances, but he's still been crucial. You can still notice there's a bit of a solidity on that side of pitch with Tomiyasu there. Of course, against Manchester United, gotta just remember that Tomiyasu played a beautiful ball with his supposed weaker left foot into the path of Martinelli at 1-0 towards the end of the game, which Martinelli should have done way better with. And it's just those technical moments of quality from Tomiyasu, and with that brilliant defensive ability too. It just makes us so secure in that area of the pitch. And yes, he's just slotted in. Our defense does really look a lot better with him there, and it's just crucial to have him in the side, and him coming back in when he did, although it's frustrating he's been injured for so long. We've just got to say, now he's here, he's now proven what a brilliant option he is for that left back role. One of the crucial cogs in this run-in, which may end with the Premier League title. Next up is David Raya, and I know he has a golden glove, but it still feels as though Arsenal fans don't appreciate what he has done. And he's come into the side, there was a lot of pressure on him. A lot of Arsenal fans love Ramsdale, and rightly so, because he was really crucial to our title charge last season. But the way Raya has come in and conducted himself is just absolutely fantastic. And I see a lot of people say, oh, Raya is only good because of the defence in front of him. I think that's so wide of the mark. If you look at the amount of crosses that Raya claims per game, which relieves pressure off the defence, it is a joke. And having a goalkeeper who is pragmatic off his line is just exactly what Mikel Arteta wants. And his ability on the ball, the little clips he does in games go very much unnoticed. And of course, he's been decent in these past few weeks with his shot stopping, and of course was crucial in that penalty shootout against Porto. Although we didn't really progress after playing Bayern Munich, he's still been really crucial to this season and the Premier League in particular, and I think he deserves the Golden Glove. I think he deserves a lot of the accolades for the way he has played, especially coming into the side with Ramsdale, so loved by this fan base. So he's definitely the third most underrated player in this running. Fourth, I know you guys have been waiting for who would next be on this list, and you probably thought, when is he going to talk about this guy? And of course, I'm talking about Leandro Trossard. Absolutely fantastic. 12 goals this season and 1 assist in the Premier League. He's just been in top form. He's really stepped up in the running when Martinelli has been quite poor. He's not really at his normal self. To be able to bring in Leandro Trossard to be clutch for us is just absolutely crucial. And that goal against Manchester United just proved how clutch Leandro Trossard is, coming into the box, tapping it home and winning the game for us. And then also we've got that game against Bournemouth. Getting that second goal was so crucial to us, and Leandro Trossard just came through and scored beautifully. And he's probably our best finisher at the club. I'm very confident when I say Leo through on goal. I'm almost already celebrating because I know how much of a fantastic finisher he is, and definitely one of the most crucial players this season. And if we look back on this season, there's always that sort of player who's a bit on the goal. I'm almost already celebrating because I know how much of a fantastic finisher he is, and definitely one of the most crucial players this season. And if we look back on this season, there's always that sort of player who's a bit on the periphery, but then when he gets his opportunities, he's always delivering in terms of output. The overall performance may not be that good, but he's always there, clutching up, getting the goals and performing in terms of output. And Leandro Trossard is definitely that guy. And 25 odd million pounds, what a bargain. I think it's probably one of our best deals we've done under Edu as our director and Mikel as our manager. So definitely Leandro Trossard on this list as one of the most underrated players in this title charge. Last but not least is Jorginho. I think you guys are forgetting that Jorginho played a lot of the big games due to the injury to Thomas Partey, and he was absolutely fantastic. Getting the man of the match at home against Liverpool in a must-win game for the Gunners, he was just controlling that midfield, absolutely fantastic. And there's been a lot of games where he's just been there and he's really made us stronger in that midfield, and it goes a bit unnoticed because we've got Declan Rice next to him, but he allowed Declan Rice for many of those massive wins to be free and scoring goals. So Jorginho definitely deserves that new contract. I feel like he's definitely been underrated in this title charge because he just provides that experience, that calmness when you need to keep the ball and just take pressure off the defense. Jorginho is your man, very deserving of being in this list for sure. Now let's move on to the next player, and that player is none other than Jakub Kiwior. Again, similar to Jorginho, many performances in which he came in and was absolutely fantastic. I think about that game against Liverpool at home again. I think he came off the bench for Zinchenko and he was so good. Nearly even got himself a goal in that game. And then in our big wins, Jakub was fantastic. I remember him just pinging balls into the box, locking down that left side. And although he's lost his place in recent games, he's another one, a bit like Tomiyasu, when he's been fit and when he has been picked, he's been so crucial to our defensive structure. And yes, it does look like we may be willing to sell him, but I'm not going to forget his contribution this season to this title charge, because he really was a perfect addition to that back line when we had minimal options at left back. Finally, to end the video, the player who's also been the most underrated in this title charge is, of course, Thomas Partey. And yes, although against Manchester United, I think it was his worst game since being back in the side, I do think when he's been picked and when he is fit, he's one of our best midfielders. Again, allowing Rice that freedom. It's just his press resistance, the way at which he pings that ball around sometimes is a joy to watch. And also, he just looks to play the ball forward. You know, he adds something more to our attacking play. And yes, although it's very disappointing he's missed a majority of this season, I think if he had been fit, there were so many more points for us to win. But you take that gamble with Thomas Partey's fitness, and unfortunately it has us in a situation where we're relying on Tottenham Hotspur. But when he's in there, Thomas Partey, absolutely crucial. That performance against Chelsea at home in a 5-0, just out of this world. And then we go to the performance against Tottenham away from home. Again, so good. I made a video on that recently. And Thomas Partey, of course, deserves to be in this list. And it's a shame, of course, like I've said, that he hasn't been fit enough for the whole season. Anyway, Gunners, that's it for now. If you think there's any players I've missed in this list, please put them down in the comments. I'm more looking for those players which were not playing every game. You know, the likes of Saka, Odegaard, Rice, Gabriel's, Saliba's, Ben White, of course. We know how good they are. It's more about these guys who have played the minimal games but loads in a row, and they have really contributed to our title charge. So of course, like, subscribe and turn on those notifications to never miss a video like this again. Peace.